Welcome to Fight the Good Fight Club, the podcast about the relentless pursuit of a life and relationships filled with purpose, love, joy, and peace. If you're ready to get real and dig deep, then you're ready for Fight the Good Fight Club.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia.
And I'm Marcel.
And we are the Fight the Good Fight Club duo, partners in crime. And today we are talking about lesson number 77 from A Course in Miracles. I am entitled to miracles. Now, this episode is going to be really interesting because it's going to sort of stretch this topic. We're going to talk about how and why we're entitled to miracles. And then we're going to talk about the roadblocks, the biggest roadblocks that keep us from enjoying the miracles of our lives.
Yes. So, and that's a good word, stretching the lesson. But first of all, it almost sounds hoity-toity. I'm entitled to miracles. And so, first of all, the premise of a miracle is not hitting the lotteries. Miracles really pertain to nothing outside of ourselves. It's the miracles happen within. And it's you're getting back to the core of who we really are. So if they're, I don't know what everyone believes, I believe there is an ancient, forever, eternal source of life. And we've been over this, and that's what this whole Fight the Good Fight Club is about. And we're an extension of that life. And because of that, everything we need is within us. So the miracles that are pertaining, it's not hitting the lottery, it's not getting the perfect marriage, it's not, I mean, even though it's kind of those things, but not directly. The miracles happen within us. And it's usually a change of a mindset. It's realizing a truth within. And just to put in, isn't that like the best news ever and the worst news ever? The greatest news ever is that we have everything that we could possibly ever need or want already within us. Yep.
And the worst news ever is that we have everything because we can ignore it and never tap into what makes us really happy.
And it's refreshing. There's not a group of people who have a lockdown on this and we got to secretly figure out how to become a member of it.
Yeah.
There's no price that we would have to pay. The price is typically for that self-sacrifice of an idea of ourselves that is not true. The truth about us is that we are an extension.
Finding honesty, looking for love, because it's difficult, right? It's so much easier to lean on the crutches. Yes. It's easier. It's like, why aren't we all the exact body weight that we want to be? Yeah. No, because it tastes good to have, tenders and pizza and whatever people like to have. It's crazy because when you think about it, the things that we want are so fabulous and wonderful and everybody wants them. And then the moment we finish thinking about it, we're off doing exactly the opposite of what brings us those things, right?
Correct. So let's say that the first thought you ever had on this earth was, let's say that I had the privilege of being that person to tell you,
okay,
you know nothing. I go, here are the gifts. They're yours. They're in you. Mm-hmm. They're life, peace, love, joy, happiness, bliss, all the beautiful, wonderful things that are an extension of life itself. You have them. They're in you. Just have to access them and not think that you can get something in this physical world that's greater than what's in you. Right. But we're never told that. We would never even understand it probably if we didn't. We first got to go figure out and search for things that aren't fulfilling, that can go away outside of us.
Or we listen to those messages in our head that tell us we're not good enough, we don't deserve it, we don't, immediately it's like we start listening to the thoughts. Like you say, here is everything. Yeah. Here's joy, peace, happiness, everything you ever want. Here it is. Yep. And I look at you and I'm nodding and I'm saying yes. And in my head, I'm thinking, but I don't deserve it. But what else is coming? Well, no, it's too hard. It's
or
whatever.
Actually, you don't know what it is. You're in this perfect
state. Yeah. Or what are you talking about? How does that happen?
Experience something you're not. Go after something that doesn't mean as much to realize, oh my gosh. So what is the word miracle? Is it the winning lottery numbers? Is it that fancy car, the job, the purse? No, the miracle really occurs, and they say it's willingness, the willingness to want the miracle, which is already yours and you already have it. You've got to...
The willingness to believe that you're entitled to it as well.
Yes. And so it's really goes back to the greatest miracle of all is love, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess that's arguable, But really, I think most people want love and happiness and peace and joy, all the things that this fight. So Fight the Good Fight Club, again, is about whenever we're in a situation where we're feeling a certain way, or we want to blame someone, or someone angered us. Again, going back to all those things about forgiveness and what's blocking that miracle in us to know that we already are all we need within us, or we already have, and we within us. And so that's what the whole idea is about. You're entitled to those. It's not an entitlement of hoity-toityness, silver spoon in your mouth.
Hoity-toity?
Hoity-toity, that's right. Kind of like you try to get with me.
Are you calling me hoity-toity? Okay, we're changing this lesson.
You have a poor
failed.
You have a failed poor attempt many times at hoity. You just couldn't be hoity-toity because that's not who you are.
Oh my
You're
goodness!
Sweet and humble. Although you try to be different sometimes. No, but so the whole idea is I'm entitled to miracles. You're entitled because that's what you are. It's like if you worked real hard and you had you made this beautiful cake and it's in your fridge. Well, you're entitled to have a bite of it because you made it, right? So that's maybe a bad example, but
it's actually a wonderful example because you say that, and it's so funny because you're talking about a cake and it's wonderful and everybody can have a piece. When I was a child, I felt that, and it's an example that I used with a therapist, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, if there was a pie that had 5 pieces." A piece for every single member of our family, and I reached for my piece, I was made to feel that I wasn't entitled, that I haven't earned that piece, that I shouldn't have that piece. So a lot of people really, they don't connect to an understanding that they don't have the things that they want in life because they may not even come to an awareness that they deserve it. I mean, that was a hard lesson for me to come to, that I deserve miracles, because I always felt that if I didn't put a bunch of credit in the bank, if I didn't, theoretically, if I didn't put a lot of, if I couldn't argue the case for why I deserved a great relationship or a wonderful, income or whatever the case was, then I just wasn't entitled to it. I couldn't just show up and be entitled because I am a deserving person. Yeah. And there are a lot of people that go through that.
And that word deserve, right? Again, it's not even about, it's who you really are. Life itself is these attributes, these emotions of positive love, joy, bliss, peace, happiness, all that, right? So that is life itself. So that's who we are. So how come we don't live that way? I certainly have lived many years of my life different than what I just explained. Why? And there's no blame anymore. And it's getting harder for me to reach back and find examples because you and I have been living more of a positive and light. We were afraid that if we lost those bad experiences in our life that we felt was driving us, we wouldn't have any motivation to move forward. Right? We were so used to running from the dark that we didn't know what it was like to run toward the light, but we don't need to run toward anything. The light's already within us. So we're entitled because that's who we are. And it's not being holier than thou, better than anyone else. It's just you're emanating what's already within us, but there's clouds masking it. And it's usually fear. It's the idea that you need to do something to deserve this or that. And it goes back to the original name of Fight the Good Fight Club. There's actually a parent corporation, and there are the letters KT, know thyself. And so knowing yourself is part of what we were talking about. Once you know who you really are and believe that, hey, if it's true I'm alive, then I'm an extension of eternal life itself. I'm an eternal being. So how come I'm not happy? And then it goes down to, we were talking about this morning on the way to our brunch. It's 1 of 2 feelings is really what everyone experiences. It's either fear or love. There are no other feelings. Everything else is a subset of those 2 feelings. If it's anger, jealousy, revenge, hatred, whatever, those are subsets of fear. If it's joy, bliss, happiness, peace, those are subsets of love. And so getting, we're going to talk about our discussion on the way there. Is that part of this segment?
Yeah. Thank you very much. So you're so sweet. You're like all kinds of sweet. Well, and this kind of takes us back to the original part where I said, well, we were kind of going to stretch this
Yes.
episode a little bit, because we can say that we deserve happiness. We can talk about miracles, but those are really abstract ideas, right? We sort of, we wake up every morning, and what can we do today? Like there are things that we need to do or think or feel or whatever to actually make it a reality so
Yeah.
that we can find our peace and have our joy and all those good things.
Yeah.
So in order to create action items or verbs in our sentences, as Dr. Phil likes to say, Marcel and I were talking about, and we came into, we kind of backed into this episode through discussions that we had about boundaries and knowing ourselves and knowing how to set boundaries. So we kind of backed into this episode. We have a couple of minutes. Why don't we we'll tee up.
I want to mention one other thing.
Let me finish this thought.
Sure.
Let's tee up. Keep your thought, because it's going to
Okay.
flow right into this. We're going to tee up so that our audience knows what this episode is, because it's big. We might have to do this in a couple of parts.
Yeah.
But we're going to tee up how knowing ourselves, our morals, our values, our views, what makes us happy, what makes us upset, how knowing ourselves helps us get further down the journey towards the miracles in our lives, right? So we're going to kind of talk about that in this episode. Okay, what were you saying?
So this is a good example so this is a perfect analogy of a miracle. Mm-hmm. If I asked you, could you do 20 push-ups right now? Mm-hmm. Okay. And I used to do this in seminars, and a room full of people. A couple people may raise their hands, but most people wouldn't. And I'd say, okay, can you do one push-up? Mm-hmm. Just one. And most people, I could probably do one. All right, do one now. Okay. Then the next day, do one. And just say, all right, let me see if I can do two. Mm-hmm. Then someday, if you keep doing one, all right, maybe I can. Then you do two. Then you keep going. I don't care if you're doing 2 a day every day for three or 4 days, or even a week. At some point, you're going to, maybe I could do 3. And then at some point, you're going to think, maybe I could do 20. Mm-hmm. And that is the miracle right there. That shift in your thinking is the miracle itself.
And believing.
So you're entitled to miracles. You're entitled to change your life.
To
you're
believing.
You believe that you can do something, because the old you believed you couldn't do it.
Correct. Yeah, it wasn't even part of my conversation.
So that is the miracle. So bringing it back to, was this miracle, this idea that what are you entitled to? Well, really, life is really composed of two things. You go through life living in fear, or go through life experiencing, all that there is to experience while we're here, because no one here gets out alive, right?
Yeah.
So we're all leaving. It's a question of when and how.
Are we going first class, or are we going in the package claim?
And you can
The
take,
baggage area.
we were having, exactly.
Actually, you just made a really brilliant point about believing, and it made me think about where I was. It's almost like PM. Pre-Marcel. before now, in previous relationships, or even just going to our, getting to this point where we are now, it wasn't even a part of my dialogue or conversation. I was literally surviving. I was either getting out of a bad relationship or jumping headlong into another bad relationship. I was, It was, what am I going to do to make it through this day, this week, this month, this year? It wasn't even a part of my thought base to think about what I was going to do with the joy in my life. It's almost like people that live paycheck to paycheck, which is, most people, they live paycheck to paycheck. They're not thinking about what they're going to do in retirement until they get there. Yeah. Meanwhile, they've lived all this life. They haven't saved for retirement, and their backup is up against the wall. In this conversation that we're having, I'm starting to, I'm realizing, and I hope that our listeners will realize that what we're doing is, listen, even if you leave this and you go back to a life where you're still feeling like you don't deserve whatever it is, wherever you are in your journey, taking this time to just fantasize and imagine, follow us on this journey of what it would feel like to fight this fight in a way that you believe you're going to win it. Exactly. And that you're going to have everything that you want.
And it comes back down to asking yourself, what do I really want? And then inevitably people want the things that they already have within them, but they don't know how to express it. They feel that they can't, for whatever reason. Another good example, a quick story of a woman who was an executive, she was a housewife, and asked her husband for $10. And he goes, "What for?" She's like, "I'm the mother of your kids. I take care of the house, and you're asking me why I need $10. The miracle in her was, "I don't want to ask you again." She went to school, started studying, got a degree, got a master's degree, became the executive of a jewelry company, making 10 times what her husband made. And guess what? That miracle shift in her was she relied on herself. And I'm not saying you become independent. The point being that she had reached a point.
She came to a belief in herself that she could create and have what she wanted in life, that she didn't have to depend on someone else.
You got it.
That's a great place to stop, because Jesse's getting ready to, he's going to shut us off. So we're going to break.
Yes.
When we come back from break, we're going to give you some examples. And actually, Marcel and I are going to talk about a couple of examples that are really personal to us, but we think would be really beneficial in helping to move everybody's journey further along down the path of miracles. So we'll catch you on the other side of the break.
You're listening to Fight the Good Fight Club with Marcel Pope and Cynthia Centron. If you like what you hear, subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Also, like, follow, share, and comment on social media to keep the conversation going. Thanks for supporting Fight the Good Fight Club.
Hey, and welcome back with Cynthia and Marcel. And today we are talking about lesson number 77. I am entitled to miracles, and how to recognize and create miracles in our lives. So before the break, we were talking about what it meant. Now we're going to, put some life experience behind that. Marcel and I have had actually a couple of really good conversations this morning. No, we did not fight. We were actually moving closer to miracles. We actually talk about our episodes, and we don't fight. We strongly disagree.
And I will shamelessly take the credit for us not fighting, because I was very aware of how I would have.
All right, Buddha.
I would listen. And I'm saying this proudly because a miracle happened in my life.
Okay.
That I didn't take the bait. You didn't know you were.
What?
You didn't know you were presenting.
Oh, great. What?
Unbeknownst to you.
I am giving you away. So after this show, just email me. I'm giving Marcel away.
But I really was proud. I'm sitting there, and
I was proud that you didn't lose your mind and give you that side eye.
Well, I was thinking, remember that episode? If I defend myself, I am attacked. I thought
I was
there's
not attacking.
I know, because I wasn't a defending.
I wasn't attacking. Okay, so let's give this example, because I'm actually super excited about discussing this, because I'm willing to bet that there are a ton of people that kind of walk into this, and they're halfway in the middle of a fighting, screaming, somebody sleeping in the bathtub, and they're like, OMG, how did that happen? I wasn't even planning for that. And they back into it, they jump into it, they yell into it. I don't know what happens. And I think that this example is such a great example.
So we're talking about this chat on the way to brunch this morning, right?
About you going to dinner last night.
Yeah. Okay. Let me. Okay. So I'll.
You're going to set this up. You're going to do it all wrong, but go ahead.
You know what? Go ahead.
No, you.
I'm listening.
Okay, so the men are out there going, "Don't do that to him," and the women are going, "Go, Cynthia, go." Okay, so
see, you're always aware of people. I'm still talking to you on a couch.
I'm doing
and
both.
I don't know if I'll be able to make the shift of other people listening, because I'm really focused on. But you're fine. Go ahead.
I'm focused on. Well, that's why I'm the producer and you are the talker.
And you're exactly right. Go ahead.
Okay, so last night Marcel got some tickets to go to dinner and he got some tickets for this morning. There's a restaurant that's having a reopening, which is happening a lot these days with the COVID-19 environment. So I could not make it last night because I was on deadline with my day job. And so Marcel went off, and he went with his mom and a couple that has been controversial in his past relationship. And I don't want to make a judgment about them. What I will say is that the way that they choose to live their relationship is not the same as the way that I choose to live my relationship, and the way that I would hope that my boyfriend would choose to live his relationship if he wants to keep all of his appendages intact before I kill him. No, so, but it's just, let's just say that they are very progressive and very liberal in the way that they manage their relationship. And so when he said to me that he was, that he had dinner with them last night, a feeling came up. It wasn't warm and fuzzy. A feeling came up, and I know that this is a longtime friend. This is a relationship that Marcel had before he and I got together. So I'm sensitive to that. So, and I'm fine. I want him, I want you to have your friends or whatever. And, but, I'm also just aware, because I come from the belief that, and Marcel and I were talking about why this came up. Maybe I'm getting ahead of the story, but you go ahead and say what you want to say. I wasn't angry about it. I just wasn't excited about it.
This is a joke. Now that you've messed it up, I'll come in and correct it.
Ay, Dios mío.
I'm joking. So now, the thing is, this couple, they're swingers, okay?
Okay.
So let's not.
All right, do your thing.
All right, so he's been my friend for 25 years.
Right.
Okay, I know him very well. And when my last marriage, my ex didn't like him because the first time we all went out, I said, now this guy's going to flirt with you because that's who he is. And I'm not egotistical. That's just who he is. And I said, but if you don't trust yourself, we won't go out with them. She goes, what do you mean? She goes, let's go out. I said, okay. So I went to the bathroom. When I came back, she's all bent out of shape. He put his arm around me and said, listen, we should go on a cruise. And I said, I told you he was that way. She goes, and you accept that? I said, yeah, I accept him the way he is. I said, and if you're the one that I should trust, I said, there's no trusting about him. I know everything about him. So there's nothing to trust or not trust. He's completely honest in who he is. And I told you he would probably, say something to you.
Now, let me ask you a question. If we move this forward and I knew this story and that was possible, I would hope that you would, that if I said to you, I don't want your friends touching me. Like I would.
If you said that, I would tell him.
Yeah, I'm really proper. Like I have girlfriends that like their friends like sit in the lap of their husbands and they play around that way. I don't do that.
Yeah.
Like somebody's bound to lose a body part if they were to sit in your lap. Like that's not cute to me. It's not amusing to me. I don't do that.
So the whole thing was, I know my friend, who he is. Don't judge him. I don't get in his face and go, don't you touch my girl.
No, you don't.
And I'm not saying he has free reign. If he gets luck, or if he, in his mind, my girl wants to go off with him and I'm not into that, then he can have her. Because I don't want a girl who's going to go do that.
Right.
Even though a guy, because he's one guy, many guys will do that.
Right.
So I'm secure within myself, but I'm also not judgmental of my friend, know who he is. Right. And I was counting on her she got all offended and everything. So consequently, he wasn't in my life for the whole time I was in that marriage. Mm-hmm. If she left town for whatever reason, I'd call him. Hey, man. So
you'd sneak?
I'd
behind her back because she wouldn't.
She was insecure.
Because she was basically making you not be able to have your friend.
Correct.
Yeah.
But so that was huge. So when you found out who I went out, my first thought was,
I didn't find out. You told me.
Well, I told you. I did tell you that I was.
Yeah, I wasn't sneaking. I wasn't. I didn't find out. So
here's the point. My
me.
initial thought, and I think I've done this my whole life.
So, but wait, let's back up a second because it's important. It is important.
Yeah.
I said to you, I don't know how I feel. I have a feeling that's coming up. And you said, what? I said, I don't know if I feel good about you going out with the two of them as a couple without me there.
Right.
I don't mind that you guys chat. If you go off and have a beer with him, I don't care. But knowing, it just doesn't feel comfortable for me. And then you just kind of looked at me, and I think that your thought was, here we go. We're going to have a problem.
Okay, so this is why I took shamelessly credit for not blowing into something and then sitting with this other couple there and just stewing over not knowing what's going on.
We didn't have this discussion before you went. This is after we did that this morning.
So on the way to brunch is what I'm referring to.
Oh, you're talking about, that's right, because we had another couple there. That's right. Sorry.
So we're going to go back and listen. I want you to see how many times you cut me off. So what I'm saying is, so here is, inside of me was welling up, oh God. And my ex came up with I guess I'm going to have to eliminate Mark out of my life again, but I don't want to do that because I love him to death and I don't judge him. And then you went on, but what came to mind is that last episode of thoughts and feelings. You started telling me all your thoughts, some coming from your feeling that you had within you. And so I let it go because it wasn't about me. And this is the big point. It was all about how you felt. I quit making it about me, my friend, our history, my past, of how she acted. And that to me was a huge breakthrough with myself.
Yes.
Myself.
Yes.
That tremendously affects us. Because this whole idea, fight the good fight, isn't fighting with someone else.
Yeah.
It's identifying the fight within ourselves that we don't even know exists.
So that's one side of the coin, right? Now, on the other side of the coin, for me, it wasn't just about me. Because if it was just about me, I would tell you, don't ever talk to him. I don't care.
Right.
It wasn't
Good
just
point.
about me.
Exactly.
It was about us. I put us first in the same way that you put us first.
Actually,
so what I said to you was, when we were sitting in the car and we were having this conversation on the drive, I said, look, this feeling is coming up for me. And then you said, well, why? I said, well, I know that these are friends of yours and I don't want you not to have your friends, and I know that he's an important part of your life. I said, so I'm having this feeling come up. And then I explained to you why that feeling came up for me. I explained that in my life, I have learned and realized that I choose to surround myself by like-minded people. Like my inner circle are people that are like-minded. Why? Because we are human beings. We have strong moments and we have weak moments. It's all fun and games when everybody's strong and fun and good and great. But when there are bad times, when you're hurting, when you're weak, things can happen. And the people in that inner circle can affect your thoughts and your behavior. Case in point, that's when I told you about my ex-best friend. I was having trouble with my ex-marriage, and this girl who was very toxic came into my relationship, and in the moments where I needed to be supported in my marriage, she took advantage and pulled me. And I was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. You're absolutely right. Now, it is what it is, but my point is that and when I explained to you why those feelings were coming up, when I explained to you why I thought, I think maybe when you go out as a couple with them, I would like to be there. I'm not requiring it. There's no rule. You're not a child. You're not my son. I don't not trust you. I'm cautious. I'm aware of the fact that there are people in this life that act differently or behave differently than I do. And I'm just aware.
So what you just said was a past experience that you had is affecting how you're thinking, behaving now, which is
relationships.
Okay. So same thing with me. I could have projected on you my last relationship on how I felt about my friend or how I was made to feel about my friend, cutting him out of my life or whatever.
Yeah.
But so this is the point. You said you put us first. No.
I did because I talked to you and explained to you what was going on in my mind.
I'm not making an accusation.
Welcome to the real time. Ding, ding, ding. Right. Round one. Okay, go.
So this is what I'm promoting.
Yeah.
It's very selfish. Your feelings to you are more or are very important to you, and my feelings are very important to me. You said I was thought about our relationship. What you should think of, can I finish, please? You said that what I want, to me, what's healthier, my feelings matter is what you're really saying. And I need to think, you've got the floor, her feelings need to matter to me too.
And yes.
Rather than me getting bent out of shape. And what's going on in me is trying to hold down the anger that you're going to be just like my ex and not let me be friends with my friend. And I'm going to be seething. We're not going to resolve it. But for the first time in my life, I understood what a real relationship is. And it's respecting your feelings.
Right.
And not making it about me.
Right.
And thinking about...
And I did the same thing.
Exactly.
By not... Because I could have blown it out of the water and turned it into a S show.
Exactly.
By saying, I don't want you seeing him anymore. I don't like those people. I don't want you talking to them. But when I didn't make it about me... because I'm sensitive to the fact that this person is important to you and that you want him in your life, the feelings came up just like the feelings came up for you. And I put myself first, and and you put yourself first, and then we also considered the other person's feelings. Why? Because we're in a relationship. We're not denying anybody anything. What we're doing is that we're bringing and growing and evolving our plane, our sphere, to make room for other people's feelings and other people's expectations. Now, I know that, while we're still thinking of ourselves, again, I tell you, because I could have said, you know what? I don't like that. You're not allowed to go out with them anymore. That's not okay.
And that is a very, very important point. And then I would have gotten offended and defensive. And then that's the thing that festers, because there's no, and so it goes back to that original question that I've asked when we first started seeing each other. At what point does a relationship ascend? It keeps going up, beautiful, lovely, everything's fantastic. Then what is said, what is done on someone's part that it all of a sudden starts going downhill? And those scorecards are kept. So, and it's not,
just for our listeners, this is a question that Marcel asked me a couple of years ago. We're sitting on the couch and you're like, at what point is it that the relationship, after going up and up and up and up and up, at what point does it just drop and everything and
then
it's over?
People stay together for years because we've both done it. The relationship has gone downhill. And maybe it stops, but really it's not as great as it could be or great as it felt in the beginning. So I started realizing it's not about my past, it's all about her feelings right now. And I focused on what you were saying. The last episode was our feelings produce this myriad of thoughts. You regurgitated and every thought that was coming to you, and I just sat there and I listened, because in the back of my mind, she's dispelling the thoughts that are coming from these feelings. And for the first time in my life, I think. Well, you didn't take it personally. I didn't, and I wasn't defending
there was no blame.
My friend. I wasn't diving into my past and what happened.
Just listening.
It was, to me, I listened to what you were saying about how you felt. And to me, that was huge. Now, and then.
And you've also talked to me about the feelings, so I knew how you felt. And so I think that for our audience, what we had, our aha moment this morning was that when you just are present and you're listening and you're participating, when you're not defending, when you're not fighting, when you're not being selfish, when you're fighting for blame, giving blame or whatever, when you're just present, looking for, what is it that my partner needs?
I'm laughing because
why are you laughing at me? He's laughing at me.
I'm thinking, how did I do it without making it about me and getting all riled up?
Oh, I saw you. You were holding on to that chair. I'm going to kill her.
No, I realized what it is.
What?
We were in a boat and I dropped an anchor that I knew wouldn't break, and that anchor was being aware that feelings produce thoughts, and you were hanging on to a feeling you had, and your thoughts were the storm.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm like, all right, hang on for the ride, man.
My God.
But you realize that the anchor here is that, hey, this is about her feelings.
Yeah.
And you, no matter how rocky this gets, you need to hear her out and every thought she's having about her feelings.
Yeah. I love that. I really appreciate that.
And all the anger
Yeah.
and about my past,
Yeah.
how I had to ditch my friend for years and sneak and call him, all that just went away.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the analogy. How do you do it? It's about
you have to trust each other, too.
matters but
Yeah.
how you feel and all the thoughts.
Yeah.
You could have started saying things like, what are you sneaking? What are you didn't even tell? I'm like, I would just, okay, I'm just going to listen.
Yeah.
And listen and listen and listen and listen and listen and listen. Fortunately, it wasn't a bad storm. It was like instead of being a Waimea Bay 80-foot wave, it was like an Indian Atlantic, ankle slapper. but I was so happy because it went back to that last thing, that revelation that feelings produce thoughts. Thoughts don't produce feelings. And the underlying feeling is only two, fear or love. And you do have an underlying fear. And I said to you that, even if I was that way, which I'm not, okay? Just to clarify.
Say that again. It's on the record. It's on tape. Okay, go ahead.
Which I'm not in this relationship with you.
What?
I'm joking. That's
You do know I flunked sharing in kindergarten. I don't share my toys, just FYI. Okay, go. Said the Cuban.
But the biggest thing, this idea of you're entitled to miracles and you don't know how to have those, that miracle for me was that shift in my ability to know what was going on and to anchor in this idea of
I was so grateful.
That anchor was, this is about her feelings, and these are all the thoughts coming from it. No matter how ugly it gets, no matter what she says, because we don't judge them. We don't compare them. So, all right. So that was powerful.
That was very powerful. And now when we come back, we are going to talk a little bit about knowing ourselves, setting boundaries, grabbing some of this information, this crazy story that we both survived from. Thank you. And sort of wrapping it up so that our listeners can kind of grab onto some nuggets and how to apply it in their lives. And we'll be back.
You're listening to Fight the Good Fight Club with Marcel Pope and Cynthia Cintron. If you like what you hear, subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Also, like, follow, share, and comment on social media to keep the conversation going. Thanks for supporting Fight the Good Fight Club.
And welcome back. Cynthia and Marcel, we're both in one piece. We're just checking our Band-Aids. And on our last break, we were talking about having difficult conversations about things that upset us and how we process that while we're in relationship. So for Marcel, where I was explaining something to him that didn't make me feel comfortable and how he was able to hear and listen and not feel judged or that I'm coming for him.
The underlying fear, let's be blunt here. The story you told about your girlfriend, the underlying fear was I could be in her shoes and do what she did, is really what the fear was.
Oh, I didn't tell that story here. I was talking about something. In the car, I had told Marcel that this comes from, I had a girlfriend who had a friendship with a guy. And she was one of my best friends, It was. And she said, oh, he's just my friend. And they were going to dinners regularly and doing stuff. And it just kept going on. And I said to her, I don't see how this is healthy for your relationship. Because I think one time she was telling me how they went to dinner. She went to dinner with this guy. It was like an ongoing, they were like dating. And they'd go to dinner, and here's where the problem was. She would complain about her husband to this guy.
And he didn't know that she was going out.
Yes, she did. Yeah, he did.
Oh, he knew that?
Oh, yeah, he totally accepted that this was going on. He's just her friend. But I said, you are sharing intimacies with a man who is not your husband, and you're talking about your marriage, and you're not having this level of intimacy with your husband. You're telling this man problems that you're having, but you're not sharing this with your husband.
So everything.
So anyway, years later, so 2-3 years later, oh wow, shock of shocks. Guess who had an affair with her buddy?
Yeah.
And then ended up cheating on her husband. And then was mad at me when I didn't want to be friends with this dude and when I called her out on it because life happened.
Well, and no judgment, but isn't she in the same boat now with this current husband as she was
I have
then?
no idea. I have no idea what's going
And
on with
again,
her
it's
life
not-
because I ended that relationship, and it
so-
doesn't matter to me. What my point is, I don't want to talk about it. So because I don't care, she's not in my life, and my point is that in my world, I believe that setting healthy boundaries in relationships is a healthy thing. Here's the deal. You know how like you have rules for your kids, you have rules for your friends. Like I told you, I don't like my girlfriends sitting in my boyfriend's or my husband's lap. That's not okay with me. You want to sit on a lap, sit in your own husband's lap or go sit somewhere else. My lap is not your chair. My boyfriend's lap is not your chair. There are boundaries that
You mean like when one of your girlfriends licked my cheek?
Oh my God, that happened. Oh my God. I have a girlfriend. We were helping her move, and I have a girlfriend that walked over to my, I don't even remember because I blacked out.
It was
I
pre-COVID, thank God.
I passed out. My life passed before my eyes. I thought I could see myself in the electric chair because I think I was going to kill her. I was going to snap this woman in half. She walked over to my boyfriend and licked his cheek.
And then she gave me a sex book for Christmas as a Christmas.
And then she gave him a sex book for Christmas.
I noticed you don't talk to her much anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm glad you think that's hilarious. He is like no.
Well, I'm giving
It was
you.
funny. It
I'm
was
adding
funny.
to the point
It is-
you're making.
yes,
Where
it
are the
is funny.
boundaries?
Like, yeah.
Those are boundaries that probably most people would not be okay with.
No. I did. The next time I saw her, I did look at her and say, do not do this. It's not comfortable for me. And then she went on to defend it.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And we're not spending a lot of time together anymore.
Yeah.
I love her. I think she's an amazing woman.
Yeah.
I would love to have her in my life. But if people don't respect my boundaries, they have no business being in my life. Yeah. Which takes me now to this place where we were.
And real quick, when I made the comment about your old friend, isn't she in the same type of? I wasn't judging because I was stating.
My producer Jesse's like, if it's peanut butter, it's okay. If I had put, yes, Jesse, if I had put peanut butter on your cheek. By the way, isn't there like some creepy like joke about dogs? Okay, I'm not going to go there, but but I am going to tell you, if I had put peanut butter on your cheek, I probably would have deserved that. But no.
So I was, when I said she
Life
found
is
herself
so
in the same
strange.
relationship, I was just projecting what I've done. If you don't learn what's knowing yourself inside and getting in touch with your feelings and being around somebody who doesn't respect your feelings is my point.
Thank you.
To me, the boundary is you don't go outside of anything where you don't respect my feelings. And that's what I've learned. Your feelings are very important and they should be exactly as important as mine.
And I really appreciate that
your
because
feelings
I
important to
haven't.
me as my feelings are important to me.
And your feelings are as important to me as your
to
feelings.
me-
And I feel the exact same
and
way.
that to me should be
That's
the core foundation of a and I never knew that.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to share this with my kids.
Yeah.
Because I
And
never knew what
actually-
to tell them when it
Yeah.
comes, I mean, drawing boundaries and all that is great, but really it comes down to feelings and it's either fear or love.
Yeah, and so from my side, just to wrap up, it's really important on both sides to take responsibility because, again, I had feelings that came up when this happened.
Yes.
When the feelings come up, when the thoughts are coming into your head and the words are coming out of your mouth, there has to be a stop gate.
Yeah.
Seriously, stop gate. Analyze. These are the feelings I'm feeling. I'm feeling angry.
Yeah.
I'm feeling ashamed. I'm feeling fear. I'm feeling resentment. Whatever it is that you're feeling that doesn't feel good, before it turns into the tsunami of words that are propelled by the gunpowder that is welling up in your head, take a beat. Because Marcel and I am finding that we argue less because we're trusting each other more. We're respecting each other's boundaries more. And I feel safe. Like I felt safe to say to you, this is what I want to say to you. And I said it to you, not filled with, this happened in the past, and I know where this is going, blah, blah,
You may
blah,
not
blah,
say
blah.
that, but that's what you're doing. So let me ask you a question. Do you have a turtle in your pocket? For me, to quote you, for me,
Yes.
for me, the anchor that I'm going to hold on to, it's your feelings is what I'll focus on. And being able to do that, respecting your feelings so much more. And it's true. When you do something for someone, which you're cutting me off again.
I'm sorry.
When you are doing something for someone, you're really doing it for yourself. One of my prominent people that I know in my field, he made this comment the other day. When you say you hate someone, there's a part of you deep down that thinks you're saying it to yourself. So in effect, when you say I hate you, you're really saying I hate me.
So when you're loving me, are you loving yourself?
Absolutely.
I love that.
So when I pay attention and make your feelings the most important, I'm able to then make my feelings the most important.
I love that.
So you see.
Oh, that's the nugget. Say that again. Say that again. No, seriously, say that again.
When I make your feelings the most important aspect of us, I'm making my own feelings the most important aspect of us, because I can clearly, when I focus on yours, I'm really being able to see my own. And the argument is, hey, if I can see my own because I realize how important my feelings are to me, then I say, you know what, hers are probably just as important to her. So it's one way or the other.
Yeah.
You know, if you can really understand. I've often thought
that's empathy.
People who are afraid of, you know, maybe whatever they're afraid of, I relate it to, you know what? For whatever reason, I'm afraid of heights. I'll see a movie where someone's on the edge of a cliff, and I get this pit in my stomach where I'm nauseous. And it's just I'm watching on TV. Then I realize that feeling I have is the feeling someone else gets about whatever it is, crossing a street, going outside. And that's when I really understood how people feel inside. So, but at any rate, so your feelings to me is my anchor. Your feelings. Focus on what you feel, because the myriad of thoughts that come out, I got to keep in mind, she's just telling me how she feels. That's
right.
it. Don't make it about me. Don't be attacked or defended or offended.
And on the other side, when I'm talking to you about what I'm feeling, I am conscious of the fact that I'm not trying to hurt you or be angry at you.
And you don't.
Can I finish?
Touche.
I'm not going to be angry at you because you did that or whatever the case is. What's much more important is for us to have an understanding. Yeah. You understand how I feel. Me understand what your feelings are about it, so that then we can come together and have, you know, create a boundary that's healthy for our relationship.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right. Woohoo. So that's it. So we're going to wrap this puppy up. Wow, this is a really powerful episode. Yeah. We're going to go out for a second. We're going to come right back, and we're going to wrap this up in a nice little bow, and hope that our non-fight car ride will spill over into your lives. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Fight the Good Fight Club with Marcel Pope and Cynthia Cintron. If you like what you hear, subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Also, like, follow, share, and comment on social media to keep the conversation going. Thanks for supporting Fight the Good Fight Club.
Okay, we're back, and we're talking about I Am Entitled to Miracles. Course number 77, lesson number 77 from A Course in Miracles. And we talked about how we're entitled to miracles at the top of the show. And then we talked about how we can basically throw away our miracles and our joy and our peace by getting all up in our heads and emotions and not respecting each other. Because really, in order to experience that joy and that happiness and that peace in relationships, I mean, I'm not an expert, I'm not a therapist, but I know that having been through as many relationships that I have and witnessed everything that I have in my life and all the hundreds of years and hours of therapy that I've had, it's come down for me understanding where my peace, joy, and love are, and what are the boundaries that I have to set, and then knowing how to protect those boundaries without infringing upon the peace and the love of the other person. How to do that? How to create and set that boundary with love, and with communication. And that requires me knowing myself, and I never done that before. What about you, Marcel?
So this, bringing that off the top, this is Fight the Good Fight Club.
Yeah.
Which technically there's a company called FTGFC 4610 KT 77. So let me wrap. So
what is that?
In there, what it is, I'm telling
Is that our company?
What this is, that's what,
okay.
What this is all about. It's about knowing thyself. The KT stands for know thyself. Okay. And so what is yourself? You got to boil it down to how you feel. And a lot of people have always been made to not feel their feelings. I mean, even, I saw this in a relationship I had. This little boy, my stepson at the time, was crying because he waited till the last minute to do his homework. And all I saw was, quit crying like a wimp, be a man. It's like he was upset and he felt bad that he waited till the last minute. And it was drill sergeant in his face. You don't do this. And I watched that kid kind of develop. I mean, I'm sure he's fine, but still, I'll never forget that. He felt bad, and he never had done that before. So my point is, his feelings...
Well, you knew it was about her. It wasn't about him.
His feelings were suppressed, and they were told, don't let them out. Don't cry. Be a man. And I agree to a certain extent, but what I'm saying is we also... So that was probably part of his lesson. I don't know who's to say what any of us are to learn, but I personally feel this point in life, through all I've been through and what I've seen other people go through, it all comes down to, really, we want happiness and we want peace, and we just, we want great experiences in life, and we can turn bad experiences into good ones. Like, it could have been a really bad experience this morning for me, but for
me too. I just say the
really,
matter,
so forgive me if I've offended anybody here, but there's a story of when Christ was in the boat and a storm came up and he said, peace, be still, and the storm stopped. That's kind of what I did. There's a storm brewing here, I realized. Potentially, I dropped an anchor and said, peace, be still. And literally, everything I felt in me, defending my past, being angry about what happened to me before, what my ex had done, how I had to ditch my friend, all of those thoughts from that one feeling, I just let them go because I focused on what you were saying.
Well, and also realize with that, that
was a peace, be still.
Well, what's interesting is that it was creating this huge well of emotions in you. I wasn't even fighting. I was very calm. I literally, the only thing I said was, I don't know if I feel okay. It was literally that simple. I don't know if I feel okay. I don't know if I feel okay. Let me finish my sentence. Then you will be hurt. Man, you're not going to make it out of this alive today. I don't know if I feel okay with you going out with that couple alone. I don't know if I feel good about that. And then I was talking to you. And then because of the past, all this stuff was coming up. And I was just exploring to try to figure out how to feel this. Because I love you. I know that this relationship, not with the couple, with him, this relationship with him means a lot to you. It's been 25 years. And I don't want to impose my fears or insecurities on you.
Yeah.
But I also want to be respectful of my boundaries. So I was speaking my feelings out loud. I was speaking my bubbles out loud with you because I trusted you and I hoped that you would know where this was coming from because we talked about this before. So, but it was welling up for you. But even still, you're like, this is how I would normally feel. But, I get what's going on here and I care about your feelings. And we didn't have a big fight. It was amazing.
Okay.
In the past, it could have been.
It could, and just so you know, he's a handsome guy and she's kind of cute. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, okay? It's not a Freudian joke. I just love that look in your eyes, man, because I know that boundary look. And that is serious.
Fight the good fight. Okay, so I'm counting up to 10. I am taking a mental picture of where all the sharp objects are in my home.
No, but
I am praying to the destinies, the fates, the gods, the spirits, and everything that exists in this world for my Cuban, my Syrian, and my woman not to get together and come over there and pound your head. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
But I really, and this, see, to me, that says that we've reached the beautiful where we're laughing about it. I mean, we were literally laughing, but
and you're going to keep testing it until the day I die. Ladies, help me. Somebody please write to me. Men, women, help. Somebody throw me a life
and correct
vest.
me if I'm wrong.
A life vest.
You've probably had men say it, and I may have done this myself. And I don't say it, but I'm saying, screw your feelings. I'm going to hang out with my friend, right?
Oh, yeah, been there. Yeah, uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
He's my friend, defending where. But really, your feelings matter to me. And I think in the end, that's what matters most. And they're coming. So we want the feeling of love to prevail, and we don't want fear and all of its negative attributes, jealousy, hatred, anger, resentment, all that stuff to mask and be the cloud over the love that we have.
Yeah.
So, and that's really the bottom line.
That is the bottom line. That is the bottom line. And just in the last little bit, I'd like to share, and Marcel will share. I'll start first. In terms of moving beyond to the rest of your day today and you're thinking, I mean, there's an exercise that I do on a regular basis. Sometimes I write it down. Sometimes I just sit and think about it, especially when I feel like negative feelings coming up all the time. I like to just sit and think about, just be present, just become aware of when the feelings are coming up. And then when I'm by myself, just to think about it. Maybe write it out and try to figure out, because the reality is that Marcel and I are joking and kidding and going back and forth, but there's been a lot of anger and tears and, I'm going home and a lot of difficulty to get to this place. Because we fight the good fight on a regular basis, but it begins with communication. It begins with really making an effort to know where you are, who you are, what triggers you. So I invite, from my side, and Marcel will tell you his, from my side, I invite people to just sit down and think about where the pain comes up and why it's coming up.
So I agree with that. So now really what I feel that I'm doing, you're doing, and I believe everyone's really doing, I am trying to work out the issues in me that are blocking the love in me that's trying to get out. But fear is blocking it, and it's not your fault. I need to develop the ability to address my own feelings, figure out why I'm feeling the way and what the thoughts are, because all those fears are blocking the love that's trying to get out. And that's why meeting someone brand new, you kind of take a little chance, and that love's coming out, and their love's coming, and then all of a sudden that point is reached to where somebody says something, does something, creates a feeling, creates the thoughts, and the thoughts are all the noise, and it's like the old noise, and so you get lost in it, you go on to the next one, get that initial rush, and it's like, when does the cycle end? Now, if that's what you're aware of and you like it, so be it. But I personally don't want to keep going through those cycles. That's why this morning was a huge, huge breakthrough. I am trying to work the issues out within myself and not project them on you. And because the issues are really feelings that are blocked, that are creating these thoughts, that are creating disharmony. And so that's really, to me, the big miracle that I had this morning. So that was the miracle. I was entitled to that because that's who I have, and it was there for the taking all along, and accepting and being. The miracle's a shift in the way I handle things. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're like discombobulated, think, this person's yelling, screaming at me.
I wasn't yelling and screaming.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
What's the underlying feeling they're experiencing? Maybe what are you really feeling and why? Well, you don't understand. This is what happened. This is what my father has said, did. This is my mother's.
It creates a deeper level of intimacy. It
comes back to when we were kids, and I've never heard a more brilliant thing.
Yeah.
Stuff happens the first few years of our lives to us, and we spend the rest of our lives not knowing that we're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Work them out. So anyway.
Yeah. And having these discussions and doing this definitely does create a deeper level of intimacy.
Yes.
Are we good?
We're good.
I think we've wrapped this.
All right.
Oh, there's going to be more.
Thank you.
Yeah. There'll be another episode. We'll have another.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Until next time, we will keep fighting the Good Fight Club. I am Cynthia.
I'm Marcel, and thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
If you enjoy our podcast, we invite you to subscribe to Fight the Good Fight Club on YouTube. Hit the notification button and give us a thumbs up. Also, head over to fightthegoodfightclub.com and sign up for the newsletter, read blogs, and more. Thanks for listening.